Let's talk about your business, strategy, and the juicy details of what actually works, from mainstream fashion to fashion on Main Street, and the entire ecosystem behind it. How do we scale your company and do it with the balance and the happiness that we all seek? Let's hear from those insiders, experts, and strategists that actually make it happen. I'm your host, Ashley Alderson from the Boutique Hub, and I can't wait to chat. Welcome back to the podcast this week. I feel like we could have done this one in person. I mean, it's not very often that I get a local to interview Anna. This is so great that you're here. Thanks for joining me.
I know. I'm really, really grateful that you asked me to be on.
This is so good. I have had the pleasure of just getting to watch you grow your business from a close vantage point. Not only just being local to you, but also watching you in the mastermind. And you do some things that I think are so unique and so special to your community that I'm really excited to uncover those and share them with everybody today. So before we do, give me a little bit of backstory on your just entrepreneurial journey. Where did this come from? How did you decide to start a boutique? What's the roots?
So I feel like my story is not particularly groundbreaking by any means, but for a long time, I was a teacher. I taught middle school math in my community, and I really loved what I did. I loved who I worked with, the students, all of that. But I was really getting tired. I was getting tired of bringing home a lot of work and having little kids. And so I was looking for a change. And so I'd applied for some different positions and realized through interviews and stuff like that I didn't want to work for somebody else. And so that spurred the idea that I want to work for myself. I want to own a business, but I really had no idea what it was going to be. I don't know. Boutique was not like on my radar, but in college I worked at the Buckle. I like clothes. I always, I don't consider myself a fashionista by any means, but I don't know. I just started finding some things boutique niche and was consuming all the like YouTube, podcast, all the content, reading books, and fell in love with just entrepreneurship in general. And then obviously boutique was like the route that I took. So I started a pop-up in 2018. So I had a Shopify website from the very beginning, from day one when I launched, and then would do pop-ups throughout the summer. And that quickly ground me to that was very, very hard because I did still teach. The very first year that I ran my boutique, I still was teaching and then running on the weekends to do pop-ups. And that was not fun. So I thought, hey, what better thing to do than open a brick and mortar? Why not do that? So in November, that was about 6 months in. It's like the busiest time in Wisconsin. I think I actually just shared this with a woman yesterday in my store. She's part-time in our small town and then part-time in Orlando, of all places. And I said, yeah, November, I was talking about Pink Friday and then talking about the day after. I'm like, it is the busiest weekend for our entire store. And she's like, what? Why? And then I just said deer hunting. And I had to explain all of that. But in Wisconsin, it's like a cultural thing. But the opening weekend of deer hunting is such a big deal that the men go out hunting, the women come shopping. And so that was honestly, the first weekend that I was open in 2018. And it's just kind of been steady growth ever since. And
I love that. It's been fun to watch this growth. Talk to me about, you started in a smaller location in that brick and mortar, and then you swap stores with somebody else, right? You moved across the street. Talk to me about that journey.
Yeah. So my first brick and mortar was about 750 square feet. And, it was like at the beginning, I look back at pictures and it felt so full, but I look at pictures now and I'm like, wow, all this like space on the wall. There's just, it just was so empty. But we quickly kind of used up literally all the space. So then I had rented an apartment down the street because I'm in a really small town. There's not a lot of retail space. And so nothing was available to move bigger. And so I had rented an apartment with a friend, and she ran a shop out of the front half. And in the back half, I had an office where we would do our live sales and then storage. But then I was literally hauling, the big husky totes of clothes down the block or running big not scooter, but a big wagon with clothes down the block so I could fill up the store each week. And it was just like too much. And so then my landlord, so she had owned the building, or owns the building that I was in, owned the building that I am in currently, offered to swap locations. So I went from 750 square feet to now I have a total of 3,500 square feet, but about 1,500 of that is actually this whole lower level, which we have for live sales, storage, office space, The building is
Yeah.
like 140 years old. It's beautiful. It's really, it comes with its quirks being old, but it's got a ton of history. So that's where I am now. And that's where I have been for about a year and a half.
I would love to hear you just talk about, like, since I've been in your store and I've seen it, it's so beautiful. It's really cool, this open concept. Even if you want to describe it a little bit more. But
Yeah.
something I feel like you've done really well is just how you've merchandised and how you've bought for your store. Like, it's not just an apparel store. Like, you have so much gift, you've got men's, you've got kind of all sorts of things. Talk to me about your buying strategy and filling up that store, and your rebuy strategy, because that's a big investment trying to fill
Yeah.
that space and do it, kind of taking a risk, expanding into a lot of product lines that you probably didn't carry before. Talk to me about that process.
It was definitely different. So one thing I've always been really proud of is that I've always carried a lot of products from local makers, business,
Mhm.
typically they're mostly women owned. And so I already had a lot of gift that way where it was like, I
Yeah.
have candles, I have local jewelry, I have um, a variety like leather handbags, that sort of thing. So I knew that I had that and I just wanted to expand on it. So Dallas was definitely a really good opportunity for me to do like home and gift at the same time as apparel. And just dipping my toes in. And so it's been finding, fun, hard. I don't want to say you're wasting money, but sometimes you'll find a brand that just doesn't connect. And honestly, men's
Yeah.
has kind of been that. Like I had a couple of, I thought like good, solid, strong brands of clothing, and the apparel for men for me just didn't work. And it was taking up real estate in the store that was much better suited for my women's clothing. So we still have gift, if somebody needs to come in and get a Father's Day gift or a birthday or something like that.
Yeah.
We have that. But yeah, our store, like since the very beginning, it's always been a department store. So it's kind of got that old feel, like the display windows. We
Mm,
have these huge display windows on either
beautiful.
side when you walk in the front door. It's got this really cool mezzanine that's, like you said, kind of an open concept. And so it's really neat. Like the other day, I had people that were in, I don't know where they said they live now, maybe now by Madison, but they were visiting. And she's like, oh, wow, like I haven't been in here since it was Casperg's, which was in the 70s. I mean, like Casperg's had been
Wow.
around for about 50 years, but it was like 70s to, well, no, it was maybe earlier than that. But anyways, to like early 2000. And so the
Mhm.
fact that I have so many people that used to come and get their school, their back to school clothes at my store, and now they're coming
That's
back
cool.
and being able to like full circle buy clothes again.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
That is a really neat full circle experience. The community that you're in, just to illustrate also, it's a really small community,
Mhm.
but it's so beautiful. Like, you've got this beautiful town square, and it's become quite a destination, I feel like, for people to come and shop and just do touristy things. Talk to me, because I know you're very involved with your local community. How have you really fostered even more activity by collaborating with others in your community?
Yeah. So last night, for example, I was at a meeting it's called the Downtown Galesville Business Alliance. So DGBA is what we're called. And we started that, I can't remember, 2019, because we have a chamber of commerce, a local chamber of commerce, and they do a lot of great things in our community. But we wanted more to focus just on our downtown and really to highlight the things and, I don't know, events that we've been able to host right downtown, like you said, on this very
Yeah.
adorable town square. And so like last night's meeting, we have a local pizza farm owner that was there. We have a gift shop owner, a salon owner. And so it's open to a variety of businesses, and everybody just has the goal of growing downtown and showcasing downtown. And so it's been really neat to hear perspectives of people who've been in business for 30, 40. There's one woman, they just sold their business, but she's been in business for over 50 years. And
Wow.
so leaning on the knowledge of people that have gone before, like, they maybe did things
Mhm.
more old school back then, and Facebook is not their jam, but that's what I'm there for. Right. So it's like, I run a
Yeah.
certain portion of our page, but then they come in with like, hey, mailers have done really well for us in the past, or brochures. And it's like, okay, well, like, let's try kind of all the different avenues and listen to everyone's voices. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I've just been really, really involved in that particular group since day one. And then there's just a couple of, not just, but other local organizations that are more collaborative of small businesses. I just think that's very important. Uh, it's grown business for everyone. And so I think that's the ultimate goal.
Mhm. That's so good. If someone was listening and they're like, hey, I want to start something like that in my community, or I'm really looking to spruce up maybe an existing organization like that in my community, what advice would you give to them in order to make like a collaboration like this or a group like this most successful? What's really worked for you guys?
I think being very humble, like going in and recognizing that other people do have talents, not just trying to like
Mm,
steamroll a
yeah.
group and to take over and say like I know what's best. I think I did kind of not like in a bad way, but fell into that a little bit at the beginning where I was like, I'm just going to try to do all the things because
Mm,
I know how to do X, Y, Z. I had somebody kind of hold me back a little bit and say like you don't have to do everything, and I was like, okay, that permission was really needed. And so once that happened, it was like, yeah, all these people do have great, like I said, just practical knowledge from being in their own businesses and industries. And so being very open minded is obviously helpful. And this is kind of old school too, but just like being in other people's businesses. So not
yeah.
walking in like, and I think I'm really fortunate, but like, I'm not walking into anyone's business and they think I'm like spying on them or I'm looking down on them. It's like, no, I'll walk in and we'll just like have a conversation. How are things going? Like, what could we do better in our group to serve you? So we've added some things. I mean, last year we finally have like a mission, vision, values,
Cool.
core things for our like a brand. I mean, as our organization, it's really become a brand. Um, and so that's yeah, all of those things have really been helpful.
That's so good. What about the events that you guys have hosted together? I know there's a number of collaborations you've had with events. And really, for me, one I've been involved with you guys is Pink Friday. Talk to me
Mhm.
about how you guys plan events and really what's worked for you.
So, I mean, part of it is so we meet once a month. We meet the first Wednesday of every month, and we kind of look at what's ahead. So we were able to use January, February, like the not slower months, but the slower months where we're really not doing outdoor events
Hmm.
to plan for the summer. So once a month in the summer, we do what are called walkabouts in our town, and so that involves food trucks, musicians, local food vendors. And then also just vendors in general. It's a vendor event, and businesses are open late. So typically, a lot of people in our small town are open until like I'm only open until 5:36 is maybe kind of late, but that those nights were open until 7. Um, but being able to again foster a relationship, post to the community. These are free events. We've had this last couple has been so cute. We had kids get involved. They learned how to make their own balloon animals. So they were selling balloon animals, and one little girl was selling pictures. Like you could pay her 50 cents and she would draw you a picture. And it was just, I don't know, it's so neat. And then it just brings the parents in. And that's the other thing too, is like we're trying to have things that are very family friendly, family oriented. So
Hmm.
I think getting back to it, we plan that. And then kind of behind the scenes, there's a group of 4 of us that are on a text chain. And just like today, I have to make some graphics for upcoming events. And once those are done, somebody's going to post them to the website. And so just being able to um, try to streamline, we had somebody help us make a website. So all of that stuff has really been helpful. It's been a major growth period. I mean, none of us know how to, we're running a nonprofit organization. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I'm making a little graphic coming up. We have Apple Affair is our biggest event in town. And then we have Pink Friday, the holiday walkabout. We have trick or treating downtown with trunk or treat
Yeah.
with businesses. And then Santa on the square. So I don't know, just trying to get the word out and letting families know that we have all of this stuff that we're offering, because obviously putting all this work in, the reward is seeing the town full and making people feel included.
I love that. Talk to me more about Pink Friday. Let's talk through kind of what we did last year, because I know that's coming up and maybe that can give everyone some ideas of what to do in their own community. I can talk about the bus, but I would love to know, how did you kind of organize everyone else in the community to rally around Pink Friday and opening deer season? Because that's equally
Yeah.
as huge. Yes.
Well, so I mean, you guys have done a good job. Honestly, I was talking about this on one of our mastermind calls, but how there's a lot of people that are in our, maybe not my immediate community, but like the larger area of where we are that know about
Hmm.
Pink Friday. They're hosting their own events. And so I think as more people are hosting, more people are asking them, like, what is Pink Friday? Why should I
Yeah.
participate? Why do I want to go shop on that day? So, like last night at our meeting, I talked about it and got to explain again what Pink Friday is and why it is. So I just encourage other businesses like staff extra on those days, because like you guys brought a bus of women. Plus we had like in my own store, I mean, a photo op. I had somebody coming in doing permanent jewelry. We had a bakery pop up. So providing other small businesses an opportunity to take part in it. If maybe they don't have, well, like the permanent jewelry, she does have a brick and mortar, but if they don't have their own space somewhere to share their goods, those other small businesses. So I think that's really helpful. I'm trying to think of what else, like specifically. For me, it was just sharing the word. A couple of other businesses I know did pop-ups locally in our town. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that's one thing we do really well is encouraging like startup businesses. Again, people, maybe they're working full time and this is something that they're starting on the side, but giving them a place to sell their goods and drawing a crowd so that it's not just a craft event where, you sit and you hope people are going to walk through. Like
Yeah.
we definitely make it worth their while to maybe take a day off of work or whatever to come and share.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You know what one of my favorite purchases was on Pink Friday last year when I came to your town?
Oh,
Someone in your town hosted a pop-up and they had like a woman who did canning come in
yeah.
and she had canned goods. I had been looking for homemade salsa and you're going to die. This is like a Midwest thing, but beet pickles. Like
Beat
canned
Pickles.
beet pickles. Yes. And I was so excited to find this. She might have even had like lefse or other totally random things. And I was like,
That sounds
yes,
right.
this is the best part of Pink Friday. So what we did on our end, just for those of you who are listening, we rented a bus and just told kind of friends of friends, hey, bring a friend, tell a friend. Everybody chipped in a couple bucks to get on the bus. And then we worked with local boutique owners just to create a route. And you've got a coffee shop in your town. So we stopped at the coffee shop when we got to town and then went around to businesses, hopped back on the bus. Everyone kind of brought like a sack lunch and just like food and snacks along on the bus. And we went to like 4 or 5 more stores, I think, in different towns
Mhm.
and ended at the end of the day with, of course, some cocktails and opportunities for kids to get picked up after school. But what a fun day for moms. And I think it's somebody that it's something anyone can organize in their local community as well. So we love participating with you on Pink Friday.
That was great. And do you remember the major panic though that day? You were in my
Uh,
store and I was so grateful because it was like you guys
yes.
came early. We kind of opened like, 15 minutes early for your group.
Yeah.
And the first person came up to purchase and Shopify was down. And it was like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, like we prepared for this day. We did everything we could possibly do. Okay, Ashley Alderson is in my store. This is okay. This is gonna be okay. And we were gonna like start taking down people's credit card information. We had it all sort of
Yeah.
figured out.
I think you were going to start checking out through comment sold or like you had a whole nother plan as well by like writing things down, but it was happening in the Facebook group as well. So you and I were also reading the Boutique of Facebook group like, oh no, this is a big day. Not a
Yeah.
good time for Shopify to go down for sure.
Not good. And it never goes down. Like I don't feel like I've hardly ever had a Shopify issue. And of course, of all days, that day.
Absolutely. Hey, it's time to save the date for our next Boutique Summit, the largest conference for our industry, just for boutique owners, e-commerce stores of all types, and wholesale brands. June 9th and 10th, coming back to Dallas. We can't wait to see you there with several speakers, tons of breakout sessions, your very own private trade show. Did I mention swag? Plus an opportunity to network with retailers just like you, ready to scale and grow your business. You guys, we plan the Boutique Summit on the front end of the market happening at Dallas Market Center, so you can really get the most bang for your buck when you're traveling. Attend the Boutique Summit, stay for market, learn as much as you can, buy as much as you can, and get ready to grow and scale your business. June 9th and 10th, click the show notes to sign up, get the information, and save the date right now. Well, something else I've seen from you in the last year, Anna, that I just think is awesome, and we've talked about this, is just I think by becoming a leader in your local community and like stretching yourself and putting yourself in so many different big rooms, it seems like you've just gotten so comfortable outside of your comfort zone as a whole. And I know that's something you feel very passionate about for all boutique owners, just to take the leap and to raise your hand and say, yeah, that's the room that I want to be in. Tell me more about just even mindset shifts that you've had to put yourself in different rooms and to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I mean, it's hard to say the specific mindset shift, but I do really love to listen to business podcasts. I like to listen to how like other businesses got started. One of my favorite podcasts is called Business Movers. and they go
Mm.
through each season as like a different business. And right now they're talking about Lego. And anyways, just that these huge businesses have had major catastrophes or things happen, and they have to rally the troops. Like they wouldn't still be the big business they were if they just rolled over and gave up. So part of it for me is being able to, like you said, be uncomfortable. Like being on this podcast is a big thing. Like this is huge. This is also a podcast. I mean, I've listened to for years and years. I think I've
Yeah.
probably gone through every single episode. And
Aw.
so being asked, I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. I'm really nervous, but I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? And the other
You're doing
thing I
great.
think for myself personally, and this is just, I think being a former teacher, you're in front of kids, and I taught middle school, and so anything goes. Well, with any age, but with middle schoolers, they're just a different breed. But being able to just punt, you know what I mean? Like not
Yeah.
feeling like you have to have it all perfect and prepared. The done is better than perfect method is kind of
Yeah.
my motto. And so that just comes off more authentic too, is not having this
Yeah.
script or facade or whatever. Like if I see you in person, I might say something super awkward and stick my foot in my mouth, but that's just who I am. Like I'm not the most polished person, but people I think gravitate towards that. I think they appreciate the realness.
Mm. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess totally taking this back to your question, um, being willing to take big leaps and chances on myself. I feel like in five years in business, I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't do that. And if I just kind of like stayed in my lane, but also didn't and didn't ask people that are like, they always say, find somebody that's doing what you do, but 10 steps ahead. And I
Yeah.
think that that's been really helpful. And so like I'm maybe quiet in some of these bigger rooms, but I'm soaking it in and trying to figure out ways that I can like slowly incorporate things so that I'm not overwhelming myself all at once.
I love that. And completely genuine along the way. I just think that's
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah. Something else that I notice about you is, of course, you and I get a chance to run into each other outside of boutique world because
Mhm.
we're both moms and our kids are all the same age. And so we see each other at sporting events quite often. And I think especially right now in our industry, I think we've come to like a really critical point of there's just a lot of burnout. Like there's just a lot of boutique owners trying to do all the things. And I know for me, and I'm curious if this is true for you, the older the kids get, like, our oldest are eighth grade, right?
Yeah.
The older they get, I think the more you realize like your clock is ticking
Mhm.
and you have this pressure to not only continue to perform as a business owner, but sometimes as a business owner, we think we have all kinds of time. But now we're realizing, oh my gosh, I don't have as much time with my kids and with my family as I want. And so I think that's also where a source of burnout is coming for people. So I'm curious for you, as a mom of three, incredibly busy, sports, all the things, how do you just set clear boundaries so that you can live in both aspects of your life and also have enough peace to just lay your head on the pillow at night and know that you're not lacking in one area of the other? Like you've
Mhm.
performed your best in both arenas and you're excited to do it again tomorrow.
So a couple of things. Number one, I will say a big boundary that I've set. I'm not great at boundaries, to be very honest, but one that I've set is it goes for me and my staff, but is we're really flexible with scheduling. It makes headaches a lot of times just trying to get
Mm,
everybody like in the right places. But family is really important to myself and to my employees. So there's some cut and dry days, like you're going to have to be here on a Black Friday, Pink Friday. Like there's
yeah.
just shifts that have to be worked. But other than that, we're pretty flexible as far as giving people the time off so that I feel like they're also flexible with me when I'm not there, that it's not like it's unfair. Everybody's
Yeah.
kind of pulling their weight work-wise. At home, I do have a hard time not shutting off, but I love business. I love collaborating. Like I had a meeting last night, I had a meeting Tuesday night. Tonight I'm doing something that's like kind of personal but kind of work. So with that, I feel like my husband has really picked up a ton of slack, and I give him a lot of credit for that because he does a
Mm,
lot more of the running around with kids during the week. And I try to be as available as I can on the weekends. So like Saturday football games or, basketball tournaments, that's kind of, I really don't want to miss it. Like, unless we're absolutely short staffed, like, of course I'll work at the store, but,
yeah.
that's just very, very important to me is being there for like the I don't want to say the bigger events, the games, the tournaments, the whatever, but when my kids see me in the stands, they don't see me when they're at practice. And so thank goodness my husband is willing to shuffle kids all over the place that way. But yeah, I just think we have really flexible kids too. My husband grew up, his parents owned a family business for 40 years. So he was a kid of, the parents that were working a lot. So I think he gets it, as far as like my role in all of this. And so it's been wonderful. I mean, I really can't say too much about that other than my Eric, you have an Eric too, but
Isn't that
yeah,
crazy?
it is.
Yeah,
I know, but he's just been kind of a rock star. And so I appreciate that very
that's
much.
awesome. So good.
Yeah.
And your team too. But
Mhm.
your team being able to step in and take over things so you can also step away means that you've trained them well. So talk to me
Mhm.
about like systems, processes, just ongoing training that has allowed your team to find success and to have you feel like you don't have to be there every step of the way as well.
I don't know. I've got good people. And I feel like I'm really intuitive with hiring. Like I've never had to post. The only job position I ever posted for the store was a cleaning position. And I ended up hiring it back end from somebody that I knew. Like I
Mm,
just, people have either reached out to me looking for work and I feel like I'm a really good judge of character that way. Or
yeah.
I've reached out to them and just said like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to fill these hours, and it's worked out. So as far as like getting people, I don't even know. I feel like I'm super super lucky and fortunate that way. But training, like even that. So today, here I am on a call with you. I have 2 new employees training at the store because my third
Wow.
employee loves training. Like she is phenomenal. She when she first got hired, and this was I think recommended to me. But she did it was she has a notebook that like when she was first training, anytime there was a system or a process, like a return in common sold, a return in Shopify, anything like that, she wrote it down step by step by step. So it's like literally this
Mhm.
little Bible that sits in the top shelf at the store. And so then other employees, if they're running into an issue, like we train them well, but you're still going to have that moment of panic. Like, how do I do this? How do I, ship this? It's right there. They just pull it out. They go to the page. It's organized. So I give her a ton of credit because you know how everything as like the original business owner is up in your head. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, like you're building the plane as you're flying it. You don't have time to go back and like write it all out. She did that for me. And so that's been a really, really helpful tool.
So good. So good. All the systems we build as we fly the plane.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think, looking back on your business in the last several years, what's been the best advice that you've gotten along the way?
Best advice for like business growth or just business in general?
Just business in general, the seasons you've been in.
Boy, I mean, I think, and this is something I'm still working on, but just being able to delegate is so helpful because again, then you're
Mm,
not going to be the one that has to be doing all the things. So I'm definitely the bottleneck in certain areas. And so things we're still working on that. But being able to let go of certain things has really helped me. And then it empowers my employees to be involved in different ways in the business instead of just being a sales associate. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like I think of the acronyms and like thinking of people's like joy spots and their gifts and being able
yeah,
to give them a task that they are super good at. And then I don't have to do, and it frees me up to do XYZ other thing.
yeah. How have you looked at that for yourself? Like, how have you evaluated what your joy spot is so that you can find joy along your journey versus just finding joy when you reach the next goal? Because I think that's like an issue a lot of people are facing is
Mhm.
prolonging the joy rather than looking for it in the moment.
I think it's hard because like one thing I actually I've been connecting with somebody that I know. She lives in Orlando, so this would be like my first remote employee, and she was going to enter product for me, and we just haven't connected. Like we had a couple calls set up where we talked, and then it was going to be like the one where I show her what
Mhm.
how to do it, and that never happened. And I look back and I'm like, this is fall. This is when like everything comes in. It's the most. I mean, I actually am looking at a stack of invoices right now, but I don't hate entering product. And I know that's one thing's like, it's how many $10 an hour job, like hire somebody to do it. But
Yeah.
I don't hate it. And so part of me is okay doing things that maybe aren't particularly moving the needle, but I don't know. But you talk about evaluating. I've never really officially sat and like done the what I like to do and what I don't like to do
Yeah.
tasks or like write out every single thing that I do in a day and delegate. but it's more the opposite. Like I come in it from the back end. Like, what do I know they like to do that could help me and take it off my plate? So there's just been a handful of things in the last month, or I don't know, maybe since summer, that I've changed that have just freed me up. And it's been good, like I don't mind scheduling. I don't love it, but I don't mind it. Well, I graciously handed that over to an employee, and she's finding it challenging for sure right now, but I think it's also like it's busy season, right? So we need more people on, and people have more requests off because it's like holiday and stuff like that. But I don't know. So I do find that to still be a challenge, because I enjoy like most aspects of my business, honestly. Like I will whistle. Well, I can't whistle, but I would whistle if I could. Taking the trash across the street. Like I don't mind doing like the gross, dirty jobs. Like, I don't know. And that's maybe a thing that was advised when I was in education, but it was like, treat every single person the same, whether it's the custodian, your principal, your super, like, it doesn't matter who they are and what walk of life they come from. So I see that with like employees and customers, like, I don't know, just everybody is important. And so I think that's actually just been really important and valuable advice in my life in general.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Anna, this is so good. I feel like time's flying by just
Probably
sharing ideas, and man, so many good takeaways, and hopefully everybody listening has got a page of notes and ideas as well. Man, as you think about your kids, and this is going to make me like think about my kids as you talk, but I mean, the clock's ticking, right? And you think about your life 30 years from now, and your kids have kids, and you're sitting on that front porch with grandbabies, and you're looking back. What are the things you want them to remember most about the journey that you've been on, these businesses that you've built, the life that you've lived? What do you want them to remember most about you?
So I kind of think I'll piggyback it off of what I was just talking about, but that I treat all people with respect and kindness. There are days, and this is something I guess is very like, what do I want to say? Being very transparent. Like you know how you bring home kind of the yuck. So I would say definitely my kids and my husband probably get like the worst side of me. And so that's definitely something I'd like to change, because you are like, I am so try to be gregarious and helpful and all the things for all the people. So, but I just want them to see that I'm doing it for them. Right. So like, I'm not necessarily building this business for them. It's not that I would expect any of them to take it over, but that it's so that they can do the things that they love. And so when they're older and they have grandkids, or I have grandkids or whatever, that they were able to experience a lot of things in life that maybe, like, if I was still teaching, unfortunately, I don't feel like I would be able to offer them some of the same opportunities. And so that the sacrifices are worth it, that they were able to, and it's not even like monetary, it's just being able to like do things as a family that weren't possible before, whether it be schedule wise or whatever, but it's for them.
I love that. And all the lessons learned along the way, having a family business. So good. Yes. Well, Anna, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a huge part of our community at the Hub, and for the fun collaborations we get to do for Pink Friday. And I'm excited to sit at a basketball game with you soon.
Yeah. Easton versus Reed. We'll see it.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope that you loved it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a rating and review down below for a chance to be one of our featured listeners each and every week. For more information on our spirit of community over competition and how to access complete show notes and bonus downloads from our guests, head on over to theboutiquehub.com and join the community. We'll see you next week.